Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I am your humble host, David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers. I greet you all with the love and the honor and the blessings from the Creator, and I continue to pray for each and every one of you to accept and receive all the blessings from the universe. Now, this particular topic I have broached on before, but I've gotten some angel messages on this, and it seems like I want to help to clarify some things. Now, in this age of love and light, and I speak about it all the time, that we need to follow our core values and that we need to try to keep our frequency in the highest frequency and the highest light, if you will. And some people think, well, if everything's love and light, then how can you deal with the darkness? Well, that's an interesting thing. And everything isn't all love and light, but it is how you perceive it. How dark is the darkness? Well, if you're outside and you don't take a flashlight and you let your eyes get adjusted, come to find out that you can see more in the dark than you may have previously thought. Excuse me, had got a burpee there going anyway. So, but with this, the idea is sometimes that some people think that, well, I must extinguish the darkness. And I want to stipulate something here. And when I mentioned in the title of this, about ego and anger. And the thing is that if you try to get rid of all the anger within you, you're going to drive yourself mad. The trick or the problem or whatever it may be is that you can still get angry, but does that mean you're going to take a machete to somebody? I mean, I know that sounds brutally polar opposites, but with some of these things, it's very important that you understand that. And I was a very angry person in my early life, but for somebody to tell me that to say, well, Hawkeye, you're all about love and life, and you don't deal with anger. Oh my goodness gracious! You didn't see me back in my angry days. The thing and the trick is, as a shaman in training, I'm always a shaman in training. Until I could walk on water or pass through walls. That's my inner joke there. But anyway, the idea is though that things should get you angry because otherwise, why would you be motivated for things? Now, but it's what you do with the anger. It's the same thing with the ego. Now, I had a discussion on another previous video a week or two or so ago. Whoops. I have to decline. I don't think she knows I'm doing a live feed. But anyway, I spoke about the ego and about what needs to be done, and the idea that love and light will cure everything. One of the things we need to understand: what is the cure? Well, what do I need to cure? Do I need to cure the darkness? No. Well, basically, you need to go inside and find out what the darkness is. You need to look inside. And if there is a darkness, for example, my darkness was basically that I had a very addictive behavior. I still do, but it's very minimal now and much less than it used to be. Um, but to the point, though, what I had to do was to learn how to tame it, deal with it, otherwise control it, manage it, or something like that. Sorry about that, folks. A friend of mine, I asked her to call me, and then now I'm doing a live stream. So give me a half a second here. Thank you for that. But anyway, to continue on with this, so what we need to do is we need to look at our ego. We need to look at the id. And what the idea that we need to destroy it is just wrong. We need to control it. We need to look at the id. We need to look inside ourselves and look in all the dark corners. And yeah, it's going to bring up a lot of fear. And yeah, there's going to be people go, oh, well, I don't really have a dark side. Well, then you haven't really looked. And so what we need to do is look inside those corners, Maybe it's from a previous life. Maybe we need to understand someone else's darkness in order to understand how our light or how our id is valid in this reality, if you will. Um, so my suggestion on this is for people who are meditating and things. Um, my darkness came from my addiction and the things that happened while I was drunk and stuff like that and having to do with my addiction. No, I never openly wanted to kill any. Well, that's not true. There was one person I really, if I told him that if I found that they touched another child, I was going to kill them and they'd never find the body. But that's long ago. But at the same point, any person who touches a child, is just wrong in my opinion. Now, would I've actually done it? Probably not. I probably would have gagged him, dragged him, tied him up, and thrown him in the back of the truck and took him to the sheriff's department. Probably what I really would have done. But the thing is, though, is I had to control my anger because there was a part of me that knew, because of what had happened to me with pedophilia in my early lives, the last thing I wanted was some weird ass old man running around doing that to the children, doing it to anybody, but especially to children. So I had to learn how to control the anger. Now, he always knew when I did see him after that. He died on his own not long after that. But to the point that I was angry enough to where I might have actually done it. And that I'm not proud of that, but that's one thing. And it's like a lot of people say, well, I probably would have thought that same thing. Now, but that's the real dark side of something. And now not everybody lays around, and that's been 30 years ago. So it's like, hi there, Breaking Dawn. Sorry, I was in the middle of this when you called. I hated to decline, but here we are. I still want to talk to you after this. Anyway, but looking at the id and looking at the darkness, your darkness might be, I don't know, that you shouldn't have hollered at your kids or something, or maybe you dissed a relative or whatever. It could be very minor in terms of, well, there was at one point in my life for a short time that I wanted to strangle a man for being a pedophile. Um, Thank goodness he died before I got the chance, I guess. But no, but that is an ultimate extreme. I never want to hurt anyone, even in my younger days. Pick a fight. I'm sorry, I got a glass jaw. You're gonna knock me right out. Been hit in the head too many times. I don't need another whack. I'm like Muhammad Ali in that respect. Respect. Please don't hit me in the head. But to look inside with the id, you have to look at all different kinds of things. And one of the things for the internal journey, looking into the darkness, is that, for those of us who have addictions and alcoholism and things like that, the travel inward is much more difficult. The addictions and what drives us. Now, and speaking about the ego, we all have to have an ego, but some of us are to the point of just being absolute narcissistic buttholes. And that's a shame. Oh, by the way, hi, Bob, to the AI in there. But we want to make sure that we keep our ego in check. I mean, even as a shaman in training, you must have an ego to understand that I understand these things. And by understanding and receiving this knowledge, I understand certain things in the universe better now and so forth. Hello, Melanie. Blessings to you. So we need to have an ego, but it needs to be held in check. And as your moral behaviors or your society or how you grew up, that's what guides a lot of people's ego. A lot of times, should I stand up and, throw up my chest? Should I be the leader in this? Should I be the pissant in the back? It's not helping, or, so well, ego can take different forms. But the thing is that everything is important. And on this journey of being a shaman or higher, realm or moving into the fourth dimension, we have to be able to look at both sides of the coin almost at the same time. So, Can we look at our ego and say, well, I want to destroy my ego. I want to become this light being. Well, if you destroy your ego, then how are you going to be a good light being? Because then you won't have enough self-confidence. So for people who go, well, we must take the ego and we must rule it, slash it, burn it, and all that. No, that's wrong. Because then how can you have the yin and yang within you if you chase out all the darkness? You must control the darkness as well as the light in order to keep a balance. If you try to totally repress one or the other, that's why some people are so damned evil, in that what little bit of goodness burns in them, only the evil shows up. And they're always narcissistic, he's egotistical, slapping women on the butts. I'm thinking of certain men I've known. And, and just some of these people are just, the only way out of it is for them to die. I'm sorry, because they have chosen a particular path and have that there is no notion within themselves that they should repent for anything, inside, internally, or how they may have hurt another person. No apologies. They're above apologies. And so those kinds of people, all we can do is just kind of continue saying our prayers for these people that they will awaken. Now, I say never. There's always a chance that somebody can change their mind. Creator gave us the option to make to have free will. But some of the people that I've known, they're going to their grave just nasty ass buggers, and if they do get saved, it's going to be in the last hours. And I don't mean that rudely. Some of these people that I've known were millionaires and just very rude, nasty, mean, and hurt people, just unbelievable. And, I'm not trying to speak bad about them, but that's the truth. Never mind. I'm not going to go into it. They could ruin other people's lives and never break a sweat, never think twice about it. Doesn't affect me. They should have known better, anyway. So those types of people, this conversation isn't for them. But for those of us who have to look inside, especially me at 66, I say, okay, I've had a lot of years of experience of doing some, in my opinion, nasty crap. I mean, I didn't try to overtly go out and hurt anyone or anything like that. No. Only that person that was the pedo that did I ever really seriously consider doing harm to. But any other time, I've always tried to find the balance. I've always well, what pissed the person off? What did I do? Can I apologize for it? And it wasn't necessarily running from a fight. I just never thought that a fight was necessary. Now, that doesn't mean that I won't stand up and fight for what I think is right. But would I kill another individual? I don't know. I have been close to that point. One time in jail, a guy pulled a knife on me, and I was like, buddy, you better kill me, because you'll be dead, and I'll stab you with the knife you got in your hand. But to the point, though, it's that I never seriously wanted to do anyone harm. Now, there were times I was like, I wish that person would, get caught in the rain or something silly like that, or I hope they step in a mud puddle for their, asinine behavior or something like that. But I never really wished anybody harm, and shame on me for even those little tidbits of, I wish they'd step in a mud puddle. But anyway, I'm being a little joking about this, but seriously, folks. So we must control the ego, not wipe it clean. Now, my ego's got some bad juju on it, and I realized about it. I did a whole video about it, about myself as a puppeteer and a storyteller, blah, blah. And I had to learn. I thought I was humble until I started asking for too much money. And then I realized, oh my God, I priced myself out. Anyway, but to the point, I had allowed my ego to overtake some of my better conscious thoughts. Now, I wasn't in that for long. It was about a year that I went through this, and then I spotted it, but it was just about a year's transition that I realized I was like, oh, holy crap, I let my ego get a hold of me big time. But at the same time, I had went through so many years of nobody paying me any attention whatsoever, or going well, you're only worth $20. If you drive to Atlanta, we'll give you $10 for gas and $20 for all day long performance. We'll give you exposure. Oh, how many times have I done that for free? But the thing is that I enjoyed what I was doing. So money really wasn't the issue, but the economy was, and to drive back and forth to Tennessee cost money. And so there was a certain trade-off in there. But anyway, ego. I can't speak about your ego, only you can. But the thing is, what we need to do is to keep it in check. Some of these folks and I speak about New Agers every once in a while, and not everybody that's, talks to crystals and light sage is necessarily a New Ager. But there are some folks, and I've heard some of them, oh, we need to wipe the id clean, and we need to get rid of ego. We need to get rid. No, we don't. We need ego. Ego's important, but what we need to do is keep the darkness in check and understand how to control our ego. Because if I didn't have a little bit of ego, I would never do these videos, because my ego would say, nah, we ain't doing this. But I have to also look at it from my point of view, is that I have to bring humbleness to the table, because we need to have this conversation. But anyway, so and I've talked about that in a previous video as well. But with that said, though, it's important that every person look at your own self and say, well, maybe I'm not showing enough of my ego. What if some of the darkness, and maybe the darkness just isn't lit? And you can say, well, what do you mean by that? Well, it's like having a talent. If you've never sat at a piano, how would you know that you had any musical ability? Just as an example, there are some kids that go over to a piano and they start, at 5 years old, they play better than I have ever played, after years of practice and not even being able to play chopsticks hardly. My hat's off to them. But if they never had a piano to sit down with, how would they know they could play? How would you know if you never put a guitar in your hands that you would learn how to play it? Or, but so that's my point. So maybe there's something within your ego that the light just hasn't shined upon yet. So we need to explore the dark places, because sometimes there are treasures in the darkness that hasn't had any light shown on them. Now, sometimes in the darkness, there's some crazy shit, and we really don't want to look there very long. But at the same time, by learning what's in the darkness so that we lose fear, it builds the ego that is necessary to feel self-confident. And in order to continue our shamanic training and our journey, it's also important that we understand the good ego versus the narcissistic butthole. That and boy, that's a fine line that gets crossed many times by people, and myself included at times. So I'm always looking to make sure that I don't cross that line. Now, I'm fearful of it. I'm just aware of it. Now, awareness of the darkness, awareness of the ego, awareness of your anger. I mean, there's still people who piss me off, but the thing is I don't stay pissed all day. I don't stay pissed for 5 minutes. I'm a good minute and a half, and then I realize I have to shut this down. Now, there are people out there who are professing, but we need to quell the anger. Well, yeah, but if you get pissed off, if you don't allow yourself to get angry, it just kind of bottles you up and it'll give you indigestion. So a long time ago, I can't remember. It was one of the saints or something, and it was like, and it might have been Saint Germain, but it was that anger's okay as long as you keep it in check. You can fly out the handle for 30 seconds or a minute as long as you understand you're allowing this negative energy to exhale from you. But if you never allow it to go out and get bottled, and it bottles up inside of you, then you're going to be like a nasty boil and explode at some point. especially when you don't, when it's not expected, and make a mess of things. Yuck. So, but with that said, though, I've learned, though, that over the years, I've learned to look at the things that used to piss me off and realize that it was just stupid. And so they don't piss me off anymore. Now, one could say, well, isn't that controlling my anger? Yeah, but if somebody really ticks me off, I'm going to give you a minute and a half's worth of chewing out. But then I'm going to calm right down and go, okay, gang, now let's talk about this. Now that I have vented my anger, let's let's talk. Now that I've shown you how pissed off I can be, now back to the other side. And that's happened more times than I wish to even count or relate. But to the point, though, I realized that crap, it got out, but okay, so it's out. Now you understand that you really pissed me off, but they can also see that within 2 minutes, I can control my anger and bring it back down. I don't like to get angry, but that I still do. Now, is that darkness still within me? Yes, but it's under control. And sometimes you gotta get angry. Sometimes you just gotta stomp your foot. I know in the video I did yesterday, I didn't really do. I don't think I'm not sure if I cussed anybody out or not, but I was really mad about the abortion thing during Trump's speech, for example, and the white Democrat, the white shirted Democratic women not standing up for late term abortions, against late term abortions. And it still is kind of stuck in my craw. But, so you could tell when I was speaking about that, I was pretty damned angry about it. I still am, but these are women, so, but anyway, but the thing is like, once I did the video and I got done and I said that, I voiced my opinion without really, slapping somebody over the issue. But I got my anger out during that video about that. Now I'm still pissed off inside about certain things, and how people relate to it. But that's an ongoing thing, but I'm not allowing it to eat me up. So I have control of that darkness. Now, was the darkness anger against evil? Absolutely. I'm not ever going to get mad at somebody for doing something good. What? You helped that old man across the street? You son of a bitch. Nah, come on. But, I do tease and joke there, but thank you, Melanie. So, but, anger at the evil, absolutely, or being wronged in any way, not necessarily evil, but wronged in some way, getting a ticket for the wrong reason or what. Anyway, so, but, that doesn't mean you need to jump out of the car and punch a cop or anything, but, there are times for getting pissed off. But anyway, so the anger part, it's like, and I believe I'm getting this message saying that yes, it was in a Saint Germain message a couple of years back, and that it's okay to get angry, but it's what you do with that anger. So my anger about the women is that I'm going to do a separate video on YouTube and a separate video on Facebook about just that thing. And I'm going to go back in if I can find the video, and I want to watch that portion of the video again. So when I speak about it, the memory will be current, not something that happened 2 weeks ago now after the POTUS speech. So, but anyway, that's my own personal thing. But it's still obvious, but I wanted to be able to be, it needs to be discussed because it does, Abortion is one thing, but late term is another. But anyway, this conversation isn't about that. Now, so the anger issue, how much should we push the anger out? Well, it's not I want to suggest that it's really not about pushing the anger out. It's looking at what makes you mad. So if somebody's cutting you off in traffic, it's like, but why are they pissing you off? Well, they cut me off. So did you have an accident? No, but he cut me off. Did it make you more than 30 seconds later or something? What happened? You're going to be pissed off the rest of the way to work because you got cut off in traffic. Now I've done this, so I'm speaking from experience with these. So, and I had to realize, but wait a minute. So he cut me off. I'm mad because he's an asshole and he didn't care. But, there's been instances when a couple of years ago, when I was drugged up on all those wonderful pharmaceuticals from my doctor, that I would literally look out the window and not see a car and then pull out. I'd stop at a stop sign, look to the left, look to the right, look to the left, pull out, and then hear a honk. For whatever reason, I didn't see the vehicle. And it's like those people chew me out, shoot me a bird, cuss me this and that, and they're probably pissed all day. Now, was it my intent to pull out in front of these other people? Holy crap. I mean, I literally wet my pants one time because I was that close to like getting, T-boned. But my point to that is that when I was the one that caused somebody to honk their horn, I was the culprit that cut into traffic, if you will. And unbeknownst to me, I swear I wasn't trying to do it on purpose. But I realized that maybe the other person, there's something within them that's, they're so much in a hurry. I gotta let them go because otherwise they're going to kill me and somebody else. Yeah, I'm mad at their impatience because I'm impatient. I'm in a hurry and they cut me off and, but yeah. And in looking back through what makes the anger, I was like, I was pissed because they were in a hurry too. And they interrupt me being in a hurry. Oh, crap. So in my own self, I was like, I really need to get there. But inside, I got to keep my anxiousness down. And then I would notice things ahead of time. He started to pull out, but I was in such a hurry. I was like, he ain't going to pull out in front of me. And then he did. And then I got pissed. And then the fingers went up. And I think I go back to some of those things and go, God almighty. There were times I was almost in fisticuffs with somebody because somebody was in more of a hurry than me. And it's like, so if you go back through the steps and be honest, because that's part of the darkness, you got to be honest with yourself and go, well, was it my ego? I was in such a hurry that I got mad at them for being in more of a hurry than me. I mean, but you got to look at things. If you want to do the work, if you want to understand where the anger is coming from. Now, does that mean that I don't get angry? No. It does mean, though, that I am in control of the anger because I realized that used to tick me off. Now I laugh about it. Now, can I get caught off guard once in a while? Somebody, pulling from me? Yeah, there was one time I was like, just here recently, I was like, what that? There was nobody behind me, and this person just like had to slam on the brakes, groceries hit the floor. Yeah, that pissed me off, because ice cream hit the floor, my drink spilled anyway. And it really wasn't necessary by the person who pulled out in front of me. But for that little bit of time, but the ice cream was okay. And there was nothing really injured except my ego. This person was so much in a hurry, regardless, that the 20 seconds that it took me to get there before they pulled out in front of me, I don't know. But maybe they didn't see me. Of course, it was dark and my lights were on. But, anyway. But the other thing is maybe they were just, wiped out drunk, because I've been there too. Maybe they were high on something and they thought I was further away. So there's a lot of other things to consider. So when I stop and look at why I'm angry, lots of years of looking at that, but it goes back to what was the trigger point? What pumped my ego? What made my spirit want to jump from light to dark and hurt somebody? I realized that it was just stuff that really wasn't necessary. It really wasn't necessary. I should have been thankful that the guy didn't wait 2 seconds longer and hit me and hurt me. I should be, now, does that mean that I'm trying to push away what happened? No, but maybe there was another reason why I had to slam on the brakes. There are things and synchronicities in the universe, as you all know, that sometimes you're not aware of why a particular thing happened. but maybe later on it might show up. Man, I could have hit the guy. He almost T-boned me. I mean, maybe I could have been very injured. Whoever was in the vehicle. So, but if you just look at, well, they pissed me off and I'm just going to be pissed because I can. I'm allowed to be pissed because I am who I am and and that's just silly nonsense. But that's how the mind works though. And whether or not there is a pompousness within our brains. I'm angry because I can be. Oh, shut the F up. Stop it. That's an over id. Well, I'm in control. I have a free will. I have the choice. So if I want to be angry, I can be angry. Sure you can. But is it the right thing? That's the point. Is your id being such that the dark side of your id, if you will, says, well, I have free choice. I can be angry if I want to. Pound, pound, smash, smash, Hulk time, turn green. But is it necessary? Now, with that said, though, anger is okay. We should get angry once in a while. It's how much we are angered, what we do with that anger. Are we in control of the anger, or is the anger in control of us? Now, my anger was in control of me. Flat out, I'll admit it 110%. The anger was in control of me. And I had to stop and realize, wait a minute, there goes my mouth. Now I was never one for fist, but my mouth would just, like a rocket. It's 100 miles an hour in a half a second. And I can't take them words back. And I realize it's much better to think for a minute. Take a pause. Take a pregnant pause, as they say in theater. Take a pregnant pause before you make that reaction, before you allow crap to spew from your mouth, which was my issue all the time. And so, but the thing is though now, but even in anger, because I am currently in anger management because it never really goes away. But compared to what I was a few years ago, I am an angel in that respect. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It's just that I was that angry. So I can definitely say that it makes a difference. So if you have anger issues, then manage them. Don't try to make them go away and never appear. If you got to punch something, then find something that doesn't break a window or your fist or crack knuckles. Find a punching bag if you got to go that far. I've been there, and I understand that. But find a way to work it out. But at the same time, allow it to get out. If you're going to go punch a punching bag, or if you're going to go out and run around the block or something to get the anger out, then release it. That's what a lot of people do. And they take a run and go, well, I took a run and I feel a little better. But they're still pissed off about somebody cutting them off in traffic. They haven't released it. So the whole point of the issue is if you got to get fisticuff with a punching bag, or you got to run or bike or whatever it is that you're going to do, sometimes it's just good to just go out back and just scream and then and say, okay, it's gone, and allow it to be gone. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, because I overthink things, I go, well, is the anger really gone? Well, I don't know. I'm still a little pissed off. I would overthink it. So I had to train myself to go, okay, this is my relief valve. On steam engines and so forth, on hot water heaters, there's a relief valve in case if the tank starts to overheat for whatever reason. It's got a pop-off valve that's set to release water and any steam so the tank doesn't explode, or your pipes in your house. And so it's a pressure release valve kind of thing. So anyway, and you should check them once in a while on your hot water heaters just to be safe. Anyway, but a little plumbing tip there. But so we need to understand what our pop-off valve is. We reach a certain point, we allow it to go. And the thing is that when you understand, well, just because somebody shot me a bird doesn't mean I need to be mad for the rest of the day. Let's start with there. Or somebody, tried to flip me off, or F you, buddy, whatever it is. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So if you take that basic philosophy and understand, so you cussed me out. What good did it do? What was in all that flurry of cuss words and them giving you the whatevers? Um, did it make them feel better? Did you being calm and not getting angry back, did that fuel it or make it go out? Did you allow the other person to like vent and get it out, especially if it's somebody you know? I mean, a friend would allow another friend to vent, even if it's about you. You pissed me off. Okay, then as long as they're not trying to punch you, because a fight never really settles anything, really, except two opposing sides getting knocked around a lot. Now, can we have debate? Absolutely. Can we have argument? Absolutely. Can we be mad at one another? Yeah, but do we need to pull out guns and machetes and nukes? No. Because there is another way. And that's by having self-control. And we watch a lot of people, I think part of my issue with the abortion thing with the Trump speech was these women were told not to stand. And the few that did were like, wait a minute, this is a good thing. And the rest of them were going, no, we were told not to stand. And that's arrogance, and that's their ego from those women. And it's like, because Nancy Pelosi didn't do it, the other women didn't do. And so, and so like-minded thinking women stood up, which I'm still applauding for them, ladies. I'd like to know who they were. To just send them a note and say, thank you for standing against your fellow Democratic women. But with that, see, there's a way to control, a way to use the anger. So in my case, I'm angry. So rather than send nasty messages to all 30 women who didn't stand, I would rather send 5 positive messages to the women who did stand and show my anger. I'm appalled by your fellow Democratic women not standing when you did. Ooh, that's going to mean more to the women who didn't stand than it would be if you wrote them a note and said, I'm appalled that you didn't stand. No, send it to the person who did and let them share that message. I've gotten all these emails from all these people, men and women, saying how much they appreciated my standing when all you other Democratic women did. Oh my God, they applauded. Even the Republicans applauded me. Talk about heavy anger issues and how we use our ego and how we settle an issue by using a positive force against a negative. Because you're still, these people really don't care what I feel about them standing or not during that. Because if they did, they would have stood, is my point. So it's better to pour honey on the good spots, and help nourish the tree that is standing and growing. That's what we can do with our anger and with our id. If we know who we are, and we have control of these inner feelings and things and dealings. And I can use my ego to say, hey, Quartz, how are you, my friend? If I can use my ego because I know enough with myself and what I know about my last, 66 years on this planet, that sending a nasty messages to the ladies who didn't stand aren't going to do. Happy Luperc. I can't read that. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy day, Quartz. Anyway, I got distracted, but I've learned that my ego says to me, send a positive message out about the negative, but keep it positive. And so in the past, I wouldn't have thought about in my mind, I applaud them, but would I have sent them a message applauding them? So my point is that if I knew who those women were, I would send them an email. That's my id. That's my ego saying, I have enough confidence within myself to, instead of venting my anger on the ladies who ain't going to listen, I'm going to send positive messages to the person who will and who stood for what I believe in. Ooh. So how we deal with the negative, it's up to us. It's our choice. Did it make me mad? I screamed at the TV. I was shaking my fist at them Democratic ladies who didn't. Well, never mind. I'm not going to call them any more names. Oh, it's a pagan day. Lupercalia, I think is what you say. Close enough. Thank you, Quartz. Yeah, we should all lose our hearts today. The blood-sucking vampires out there. But anyway, so with the ego, so my ego years ago would have been that I used my ego to cuss these 30 women out versus send 5 ladies a positive message. So my ego, and you say, well, what does that have to do with it? Well, I could just sit back and do nothing. I'm doing a video and I'm discussing this, and other people have noticed it. So I'm bringing awareness out, not to anybody in particular, but to the fact that there were women who did stand. Let's be positive with that point. So we have a choice on how we can spend 30 minutes beating up the ones who didn't, or we could spend any amount of time feeding and fertilizing and making the good thing grow into something more. So anyway, but it's the ego that will drive it. Well, I feel positive enough that by at least sending one email, it will do some good, especially if I'm for the person standing. So it's important that we use our intent. Now, the reason I bring all of this up is that there are a lot of misconceptions going on about the id and the darkness, and well, there's not really any darkness, and it's not really this or that. But we've all got some darkness in them, one way or the other, and sometimes it's just a flag. Sometimes it's years of addiction and alcoholism, like myself. And, it takes different forms. But the thing is, it's the ego which says, I've had enough of the alcohol. I've had enough of the drug addiction. I've had enough of people telling me that I'm a worthless being. I've had enough. That's the ego. Now, it's the humbleness that keeps, that is always that balance in there. But if ego had not been present, and the anger of I've had enough, 25, 30 years of being an alcoholic, ain't that enough? I had to get angry at myself to say, put your foot down, Hawkeye. Get out of this mess. Stop what you're doing here. Duh. So anger and ego is necessary even to get out of a tight spot. So for folks who go like, well, we got to wash all that away. And so, yeah, we need to wash it. But at the same time, we don't get rid of it. We keep it. We got to keep some of the memories of the dark things to remind us not to repeat them. So there are people who say, well, I wished I could forget all those things. No, you don't. And I say that with the utmost in respect, because you must have a residual memory of certain things, because that was a lesson you do not wish to repeat. You absolutely want to stay as far away from that nasty memory. Now, I don't mean that you're supposed to bring it up and all that. Nah. I'm saying that if you think you're going to destroy the memory, that's why I tried to drink myself to death and overindulge in it in narcotics, because I couldn't erase the things that had happened to me. And then I realized that it only blanked me out. It was only making me a butthole. It was only destroying me. And that I had to stop and go, wait a minute. These thoughts are never going to go away. Even when I'm drunk, they come out. The point is what I need to do. My ego said, Hawkeye, take a hold of your damn self and stop this nonsense. Slap yourself in the face kind of thing. And then I realized you need anger because I had to get angry to stop the behavior. And I needed enough ego in order to get out of it. So for people to say, wow, I hope you get my point on this. Thank you very much. And I mean that sincerely. I do. A lot of people suffer, and they think that the point about the memories is that you find a safe place. Oh, and it's not about I'm going to lock it up, throw away the key. That don't work either. What you need to do is within your own mind. There were certain things that were just so nasty. I was like, I'm going to keep them locked up. Then when they would come out, I'd get mad at myself because somehow the door got unlocked. And then maybe I lost the key, or did some being go inside my head and unlock that damn door and let those crazy thoughts out, or the nasty thoughts I was it didn't work. Now, but what did work was the fact that I put away the anxiety and the fear and the guilt and the shame. But the memory of the incident, it's tagged, it's in there. But I can deal with all the other stuff, the anger, the shame, and I can take that nasty thought and put it in a closet. I know the closet's there. And the door doesn't have a lock on it. And but it goes in the closet. And I just shut the door. It can come out. And there are times when these nasty, memories of, hurtful things of people and things and stuff, and, people losing their leg and me holding onto a bloody stump, and some of these things just come out, and there's nothing I can do about it except allow them to come out and go, whoa, you guys got out of the closet. All right, guys, back in. Come on. Let me close the door. But I don't worry about what if it gets out? What if this, so there are a lot of mind tricks in there that you say, well, I've locked this thought away. No, you haven't. It's always there. So the best thing to do is consciously and unconsciously just put it on a shelf and go, this is a shelf with bad shit. Just saying, it's there, but it's on the shelf. And so it took me a while to get there. I had to realize that whatever kept opening the door, probably me, because there was a lesson I still hadn't learned from that nasty thought. And I don't mean that I was trying to do harm. I'm saying something happened to me, like a bad car accident or, stuff many times out of my control. But the point is that they would come back into my memory and haunt me in my dreams and things. So, but I put them in a shoebox and put them up on the shelf in the closet. The door's just shut. So the monster is still in the closet, but it's my choice to open it or close it. Now I know, say, well, what is the difference? It's the fact that when someone says, but you lock the door so it can never come out, that's not possible unless you go through some kind of other traumatic brain change thing, or they're zapping with waves or whatever. Your brain's still going to have that memory in there. So rather than spend a bunch of energy and ego and all this other kind of stuff on trying to keep it locked away, just put it up. And that a lot of times is enough, because it's still in the box. But if you think, well, it's never going to come out again, and then when it does, it freaks the id out. Your insides go, crap, I thought, and why do that? So just put it in the shoebox and go, well, somehow the memory got out. Well, something must have knocked it off the shelf. Time to put it back in. So it's like, okay, and put the lid on, back on the shelf. There is no locking it. And for me, it meant a lot because it's like, I still know where it's at. I still can, if I want to go look at that memory, I can go pull it out of the shoebox. But it's also in my own mind, I put it up. I put it up. But I have enough self-awareness to know that for every time I tried to lock it away, it never worked. So common sense, as I've gotten older, I had to realize it's not about the locking. It's about putting it up. It's shelving it, if you will. And now there might be some folks who might, look at this in a different way. That's fine. But the locking part, in my humble opinion, and with other folks that I've discussed, has never worked. Anytime you try to lock the emotions away, it's creating a something. I don't know what it is, but it's not going to work. I mean, in the subtext, in the quantum realm, one or two molecules are still going to hold memories. But to the point, can we put it on the shelf and forget about it? Or just say, well, okie dokie, I've dealt with it? That is extremely possible and what is necessary. And then we keep enough self-confidence with our ego in check, with our anger in check. And we say, we allow myself to get angry. I can remember that thing. But now that I know I can just stuff it back in that shoebox anytime I want, it goes right back up on the shelf. There's no ceremony about, I got to light a candle and lock the door in my memory. And oh my God, how to get out. Nap. It just fell out, put it back in the box and up on the shelf. So consider that as an option. But always remember that you're never going to wipe anything clean because there's going to have a residual left. So with that said, understand that it's okay to have a little residual nastiness in you, because that's going to what makes your light shine brighter, is the fact that you've got a little bit of tarnish. Now, we can polish up the tarnish as we go, but we'll never truly get rid of it, because that's what's going to keep us on the right frequency. If I couldn't remember some of the dumb things I've done, then how can I stay out of not repeating those things? I've got to have some of these residual memories. Otherwise, I'm going to drive myself mad, or other people during the same thing. So with that said, Court says that whole woman in white was very disturbing. Yes, Melanie, it was. Court says Twitter actually tried to prevent me from sending a tweet today. Twitter can't handle the truth. A lot of folks can't handle the truth, Quartz. I learned today that both Valentine's Day and Christmas Day both worship Saturnalia. So technically, Valentine's Day is not much different than Christmas. Well, I did some study on Saturnalia as well, Quartz. And not everything that is attached with Saturn and or with pagans are necessarily negative things. Not all pagans. Pagans are just the opposite of a Christian, but Catholicism is paganism. I mean, all the rituals and the rites and all the stuff they go through, the Catholic Church is just one giant vial full of paganism brought into Christianity. But true pagans are really just naturalists. Well, they like to run around in the nude. Well, back in the day, people ran around in the nude and nobody gave two craps. I mean, the native tribes still in South America, I don't know if there's still any left in Africa or not, but in South America, in the Amazon, those folks run around in loincloths and they don't care. It's because it doesn't matter to them. It's the white people or the Westerners or whoever you want to call that come in and go, oh my God, you all are naked. And so that drives these people crazy. So some of these people who write about Saturnalia and about these pagan rituals, well, I've seen some of these pagan rituals and they're nothing more. Now, I'm not into the orgy thing, But to the point is, what is it? It's a bunch of people who brought gifts of fruit and vegetables and stuff, who light a fire, dance around, and praise Mother Nature. Oh, did they kill anything? Nope. They brought fruit and vegetables. Did they harm anyone? Nope. Well, one could say, well, the orgy thing, okay. But to the point, though, it's like, but what did they do wrong? Oh, well, them pagans. Well, wait a minute. A true pagan doesn't want to kill anything unless they're going to roast it and eat it. And in that respect, think about the song, she'll be coming round the mountain when they go out and kill the old red rooster when she comes. That was just common. So, but I'm not. Pagans aren't witches. Pagans aren't sorcerers. Pagans are people who believe in natural things. And so a lot of Christians will never understand it because it's like, whoa, but the pagans. But with Saturnalia and certain things, it was certain times of the year that they made an offering. And the offering was to, quote, the goddess, Mother Earth. And so people, they were worshiping these things, not any more than people worship their cell phone now. And I do mean that, they're, you know me and my little quirks, right? But with that said, though, Quartz, I agree that it does have certain things to do with it, but the truth of some of these matters has been so convoluted by the goddamn Christians. I'm sorry I had to say it that way. That they have convoluted so many things that people think, oh, them pagans. And when I read about Saturnalia and Christmas, it was about the servants became the masters of the house. What the hell's wrong with that? For 7 days of Christmas, the masters of the house became the servants. Wow, what a Christmas present, especially to a slave. But then, I haven't read about Valentine's Day or this day, but my point to that is it's been twisted so much. The people, it was a pagan holiday. But did you read what the pagan holiday meant or what it was? What did they do on that holiday? Oh, you mean the slaves became the masters and the masters became the slaves? Wait, I'm trying to find where there's something wrong with that. But it's related to Saturn. It's Saturnalia. It's Saturn. It's Saturn. It's pagan. But what's wrong with what they did? Well, but it doesn't matter. They're pagan and wait a minute. The slaves were languished during Saturnalia. Just saying. Now, I don't know about Valentine's Day, but I'm glad you brought it up. But my point to that is there are two sides of this story. And anytime somebody throws out the word pagan, you get all these things that usually have to do with witchcraft and sorcery and all these other kinds of things. And I've studied all the black arts over the years because I needed to understand that they were there. And yeah, I tried to contact a demon one time and it was way too flipping close for me. But understanding, and I know many pagans around here, and I'm into drummings and such. And I'm here to tell you, these folks are the kindest people you'd ever want to meet. They literally would, give you the shirt off their back if they needed to. Much better than Christians, I might add. But paganism has gotten a really bad and nasty name. So that's my 10 cents about that, Quartz. Saw this on Twitter. I find it funny. Love causes a drop in serotonin, which is a symptom of OCD. I did use Google. Google wants me to search results. Can't really trust Google anymore. Absolutely. I use DuckDuckGo. I quit using Google. Quartz continues and says, yes, that is happening. Google controls what you get for search results. What I watched for history on Valentine's Day, there was a goat horn god mentioned, but I took that with a grain of salt. Well, here's the thing with the goat god. They didn't necessarily worship goats per se. It's that goats were easy to raise. They had goat's milk. They were easier to raise than a cow and a lot easier to butcher. So back in the day when people had a celebration, on Sundays when the family got together, if there was enough of them, 1 or 2 chickens wasn't going to do any good. They went out, quote, and sacrificed a goat. They went out and butchered a goat, hung him up. And the reason I know this is because an ex-brother-in-law of mine used to raise goats. And the Mexicans would come around and buy some of his goats over the years. He lived down in Florida. But anyway, they'd come by and go, we've got a celebration coming up. And they were like, well, what are they going to do? Well, they would bless the goat and, a couple of other small things, but then cut the goat, collect some of the blood, and then pass it around to those who butchered the goat. And it's like, but you would say, well, those Mexicans are pagans. No, they were Catholic. But in their respect for the goat, for giving its life and its blood, they honored it by saving some of the blood and drinking it, which is wholesome. And I've drank cow's blood before. I'm not into it, but I understand about its properties. It's like eating liver, and there are enzymes in there. But to the point, though, not for me. But these guys, they did it in honor. They weren't like they didn't sacrifice it as, oh my God, no, they butchered the damn things and then took it home, and everybody roasted it for the day for the feast that night. So, if you were, oh my God, those Mexicans are pagans. No, they were just having goat. But it had horns, yes, but they cut its throat and barbecued it because there was 30 of them. But they had a festival, yeah, and they did ceremoniously cut its throat in reverence to the goat. Not in praise to the goat God, but in reverence to the animal itself. And which is a similar thing what Native Americans do. And I've seen a similar practice, what they do with camels. It's gross, but a similar thing they do in Islam kind of thing in Morocco and other places, and where they say prayers before they cut the throat of whatever, quote, the sacrifice is, because they're going to cook it and eat it. And so, oh my God, that's a festival. That's, you can take this thing. So if you are fed enough bullshit, you will go, oh my God, they sacrificed that goat. Yeah, to go home and feed 30 people. No, but they sacrificed it. They cut its throat, which in order to eat it, you kind of sort of have to do. But they drank some of the blood. Yeah, because of the vitamins and the minerals and in honor of the goat. Oh, but they were all Catholic. They went to church the next day. Okay. But it's all in your interpretation. It's in your perception of what goes on. Now, I'm not saying that they ain't some people who use goats and stuff, but I've got a goat set, and somebody go, oh, you must be a devil worshiper. And I was like, no, this was a goat that died. It was a friend of mine I knew for many years, and I kept his skull because I knew the goat. Oh, you must be some kind of Satanist. No, I kept the goat skull because I liked the goat. Now, I wouldn't do that to a person, but, but to the thing, it's like, but it's in reverence to the spirit of the goat. I don't worship the goat. I thank the goat for its friendship and all the fun times I had with that silly ass goat. But do I worship the skull of the goat? No. Do I have a goat skull with horns? Yeah. And people freak out when they say, oh my God, you, no, back up. I have a hawk up there that died because I worked with an animal. When animals get hurt, they take them to a vet. But after the vet, then they take them to a place that, and I can't think of the word right now, but that takes care of the birds and animals and so forth. And I've helped feed deer and goats and vultures and hawks and owls and, a rehabilitation. And so up there was one of the hawks that were in this rehabilitation clinic, and they had it stuffed. So Hawkeye, Bright Eyes is right up there, and it's a red-tailed hawk. So people who come to my house and look up and go, oh my God, you have a red-tailed hawk. Well, technically I'm not supposed to own it, but the person who left it here did. My point of this is that I don't worship the hawk. I knew the hawk. I fed the hawk. And because I'm Hawkeye, it came to me in an odd sort of way. But that this hawk, I don't worship the hawk. But if somebody saw a stuffed animal, they go, "Oh my God, he's worshiping these things. He must be pagan." All these things can run through your head. Oh my God, he burns sage and he has crystals plus an animal. Oh my God, he's got to be worshiping the devil. That's some of the first things that come out of some people's heads when they have seen some of the things around my house. And it's like, but you really don't understand. Bright Eyes, I knew when it was alive. I didn't get it stuffed, they did, but it was left in my care because I am Hawkeye, and in Bright Eyes, I knew, the head of the goat, for example. I've got turtle shells, that I've used in ceremonies and things. The turtles were from here on my property. I consider them my buddies. So when you say, "Well, you've got a turtle shell, you must be a pagan." Oh, come on. But there are people who are so narrow-minded. That's the way they think. So, and it has crept into our society. And so the more I dug into what a real pagan was, I was like, they're basically a naturalist. Oh my God, that makes me pagan. By certain definitions, and it's like, why? Well, but I can't kill my chickens, for example. Anyway, but so when I have this other understanding, which I've just kind of sort of explained to you, that when I read certain things, I go, they're pushing the pagan button here. What is it all about? Pagan, 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 pagan. Then you read down through, and I'm reading between the lines because I've read about it. I've met people. I've studied. And so, I've studied old books from libraries, not just online, way back in the day, from University of South Florida in Tampa, from their library. I used to go there all the time. I only lived a few blocks from there. So anyway, but to the point with that, though, I just think that the word pagan has gotten a really bad rap over the years. Just saying. Catholics are much worse than pagans because they make a sacrifice and a transmutation, transformation, blood of wine into blood, the biscuit into the body, and then all the cannibals line up at the altar and the priest feeds them flesh and blood. What's wrong with that? Yeah, and you want to complain about the pagans. So, but anyway, I don't want to belabor that point, but it's just so much more, you know. And there are some folks who are pagans who literally back several years ago saved my life in so many ways. They kept me from going any deeper into a depression, and they helped bring me back into nature, if you will. And they were like, "Remember, you're a nature person. Remember who you are." And it was during a really dark time of mine. But none of my Christian friends came out and helped me, but the pagans showed up. Isn't that odd? To remind me about Mother Earth and about the universe. How about that one? But anyway, so I have beat that one up. Let me come back up here. I did tell a female in Crazy Bull's chat today when she said that today is satanic, that today is what you make of it. Oh, see, I agree with you with that. See, when they say pagan, they automatically go to Satan. And the two are not related. There are similarities, but they are not related. And if you met a pagan, they'd go like, "Get away from you, let me pull out a warding charm to keep you away from me," because pagans are people who wish to celebrate the life and the at this time of the year. I'm not quite sure what Valentine's is in that respect, but like for the Christmas thing, it was a whole week long thing of how the slaves became the masters and the masters became the slaves. And what's wrong with that? But anyway, but that every time the Catholics or the Christians turn around and want to claim something as pagan, the rest of society automatically goes, it must be satanic. And it's not. It's just nowhere near it. However, there are similarities. The pagans use certain rune signs and things like that. Does that make them satanic? No. But do Satanists use symbols and signs? Yes. Okay. That's as close as it gets. Yes, and it is the intent, because in anything that we say, that's why when I say the prayer, usually at the end of every video, I do it in 3 times, and it changes slightly every time. But my intent is to include things I may have forgotten the first time, and to reaffirm the other things by the law of 3, sometimes 4 or 5. But to the point, though, it's the number 3, the 369 in the universe, and all these other kind of things. So there is quantum magic, if you will, with certain symbols. I don't know why they work or how they work, but they do. Same thing with different frequencies and other things in our reality. But that when we understand and open ourselves up to some of these other things, you know, today, if you feel love in your heart for the people who come, then Valentine's Day is a day of love that you wish to give to people. Now, what about the red? Well, the heart and blood and all that. Okay, you could make a good argument that why don't they use blue, or why don't they? Well, you know, our blood looks blue when you look through it from a vein, but when it comes out of you, it's a dark color, and you know, depending on your blood type, you know, it's a really maroon kind of color, or if you got thin blood, it comes out kind of pinkish, and okay. Yeah, I know. I've had enough bloodletting in my life, sewed myself up, you know. But anyway, so our intent is very important. So my intent, I speak it. I intend to pray for you all and for your awakening, and for you to accept it as you will. It's your choice, but I will pray that you will receive it and accept it, you know, at your own request, and at your own speed. So that is my intent, and I speak it. So the words I speak are magic because I speak them, and I speak them with intent. So therefore, I'm actually casting a spell when I say the prayer, if you will. Now, people who say a lot of prayers, they're basically casting a spell with their intent. What? Well, yeah, duh. What do you think a spell is? A spell is certain words because you want to achieve a certain thing. So if you want to you pray to St. Christopher, you know, for a safe journey. You pray to such and such for this and that. You pray for your mother, you pray to Mother Mary, or, you know, whatever it is. And so there's a saint for all these different causes. So you pray to the saint to help you, this person. Now, there are a lot of folks, and especially out of the Catholic Church, well, you worship Mother Mary. No, I don't worship anything, but I adore Mother Mary. I adore my Christ. I adore the Creator. I don't worship anything. Never have. I did some hellacious praying, but I don't worship anything, because worship is satanic. If you worship an entity or a deity, you're in the satanic level. And because pagans don't worship, they adore, they practice, they give honor. So a lot of different things in that respect. Sending love vibes to your twin. Blessings as always. And so it is definitely our intent. So the words that we speak, if I say, you know, no, I write this down and I go, I wish to send love and prayers to all of my friends and relatives on this beautiful Valentine's Day. Best wishes, Hawkeye. That's a spell. I just wrote it down. On this beautiful day, Valentine's Day, I wish to send love and honor to all my friends and relatives and associates. Best wishes, Hawkeye. I just sent it again Whether they actually hear it or not, I put it out into the universe. It is with my intent. Now, I know some of my relatives are going to go, Dave, I felt you thinking about me the other day. Thumbs up. You know, did I call them? No, but am I thinking about them? You betcha. And they will let me know um, how things are going. Quartz, my day's been going slowly as well. It's almost like, I'm like a Model T car and I've got an old Model T car crank that you stuck in the front and crank the car up literally, before they had batteries. But you've heard about a satanic ritual where a pregnant woman was cut open and the baby was eaten alive straight out of the womb. You would be mortified to know that that happens more than not. And that, again, that a pagan would never ever think of that because they value life. A satanic person is all about the death of something and the power that they uh, suck out, achieve, or eat, or whatever it is. It's all about the life force. And so the essence of the individual. Um, and so it's appalling, it's nasty, and these nasty mofos need to get off of this planet. We all agree with that. And I say put them in a cage and let them eat each other, but they're so foul, I don't think they would. But anyway, eat your own kind. Um, because these folks are already so tainted. One vampire eating another is going to be like, yuck. I need fresh blood. Um, and the zombie attack with other things. But anyway, so I continue to pray, though, and I know you all do, that their own life force. Yep. But anyway, so I'm going to cut this now. I'm pretty much covered. I believe what I needed to cover with this, but let me reiterate, though, that you can't wipe it perfectly clean. You must leave some residual of some of those things that happened to us, so we remember not to do them again. But also know that we're not supposed to waller in our waller. I said that because I'm a Southerner, when it actually means wallow. But to waller around in your own stank is just plumb wrong. And that, to think that you can lock away all the bad memories is just foolish. Now, you can put them up, you can categorize them, you can stick them on a shelf, and that is very doable. And you should. We should, all of us. Allow the anger to come out, otherwise, we're going to pop a cork, and we should. But understand that we are in control of both. We should stay in control of both. Our ego, our anger, our narcissism, but that we need our ego and our anger to continue in this spiritual battle. I'm angry because I should have learned more, or I'm angry because I slid off the back of the truck for a day, or I don't know, something happened, and I had 2 beers with somebody and I haven't drank in years. Whatever it might be, allow yourself to have that little bit of out. Forgive yourself of the shame. Get over it. But remember, though, those memories will never ever truly go away, but you can put them on the shelf. So keep your intent as pure as you can, because that keeps our light bright. And for those who may say that, love and light is the only thing in the universe, we can't have only love and light. There's got to be some anger. There's got to be some misgivings. There's got to be a little mistrust here and there, because we don't know each other. But what we do with it, it's the yin and the yang. I watched a movie the other night, and it was about, what if all of the darkness was taken away? And I was like, well, that's a pretty interesting question. What if the darkness was taken away? Just all the evil was taken away and everybody was just happy all the time. there darkness would come out of us because there wasn't any darkness around us. We would still find ways to get mad at one another. We'd still find ways to get pissed off, and we go, well, I thought all the evil was taken away. Yeah, but there's got to be the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. It has to be. The point to higher vibrations and being a shaman is understanding it and being in control of it. So another lesson for today, an hour and 20 minutes. Thank you all. I love you. I love you. I love you. Don, if you got a few minutes, I would still like to have a chat with you about what was said. Let's see. Hillary is now a zombie. She died. I believe that Hillary's not necessarily a zombie per se, but she damn sure is a clone. That Hillary they're showing out there right now ain't the one that was back in 2016. I believe that as well. Yeah, some say Hillary is now a clone. What happened to Hillary was the day that she, on that 9/11 thing, when they threw her in the back of the van, and a couple hours later, Hillary came down the stairs, that was not the same Hillary. The Hillary that went into the van couldn't walk. She was being held by people from either side. Now, I don't know if the event was staged that way, but the person who came out and walked down the stairs and shook hands with the little girl and waved to the crowd, that's not the Hillary that went in that building. And that's when the switch was made. Now, whether or not Hillary died that day, there's been some speculation, but the person who came out of that building was not the person that went in. Bottom line, facial recognition, me as an actor and a director and being able to, I've done makeup on people. That was not Hillary that came out of that building. And a lot of other people are like the same thing. Like, oh no, that wasn't her. The cheeks were different. The eyes were set different. Some say it was her cousin. Not sure about that, but it was not. She was dead at that point, is what you say, Deborah. I don't know. I'm kind of agreeing with you on that. But I would absolutely say that the Hillary that's out there and who came out after that point is not the Hillary Clinton that went in, or an android. Absolutely. Control the id still leaks out. Open the gate for the id so that part of yourself can be better. Absolutely. She's a vampire. Absolutely. All right. So I love you all. Thank you much for hanging out with me this evening and allowing me to bring up this discussion for you all. So to close with a lovely prayer again, I pray that each one of you will accept and receive the blessings, the teachings, and the wisdom of the universe. I pray that each one of you, your friends, your relatives, your family, and all of your relations will accept the blessings and the teachings and the wisdom from the universe. I will continue to always pray for you folk and for all others as well, that you will receive and spread the energy. Continue to spread the energy. Continue to accept and receive the blessings from the universe. Continue to share with your friends, your relatives, and all of your relations. And big hugs, cosmic hugs from South Georgia. Stay warm, stay kind, stay as comfortable as you can. And Quartz, I'm always sending some thoughts your way, hoping things will work out for you. I don't know your situation inside and out, but just know that there's another brother out here that's sending you prayers. And thank you for your prayers as well. And Breaking Dawn, I hope to talk to you in a few minutes. So love from here and in this stream. And as we like to say in certain parts of the country, TTFN. Ta-ta for now, folks.